Hey everybody, it's Travis Clater, and I'm back with another strategic thought for the day. I saw an article the other day about how people still trust businesses, but they also expect CEOs to drive social change for the stakeholders and the people that support their brand and their business. And while I realize there's nothing new there, I also just recently read another story from Ken Jacobs about how executives can create and retain followers across social media and digital media. And that got me thinking about something and about thinking about the CEOs that I've had the opportunity to work with and for over the years, and how many executives fail to understand something. And that is that they have a brand, a personal and professional brand, whether they like it or not. Now, how important is personal branding for executives in the C suite? The short answer is very, very important. Sure, for the individual executive, we all want to have a good brand and a good reputation, but it's important for the organization as well. Reputation is directly linked to organizational reputation. Brands are, of course, still in the hot seat. That fact isn't likely to change anytime soon. But this is more of a people issue than I think some may realize, with executives being held accountable more so than even the brands that they represent. And this has been an evolution over the last couple of decades as audiences have continued to hold organizations more and more accountable. First, brands and businesses, we probably remember, we've all seen the stories, had free reign to do just about anything that they wanted. Then people started to demand more of the brands that they support and buy from over the last decade or so. And somewhere along the way, I think these audiences and these stakeholders and these people started to understand something, and that is that the people behind the brands are making the decisions. And you combine that with the fact that access to those executives through digital and social media has made it a lot easier to talk to them directly and hold them accountable. So even if you want to hide from it, as an executive, you have a brand. So it's either something you can ignore and suffer from and use it, or leave it as a risk, or you can and embrace it and use it in a positive way. When you embrace the idea, you can find ways to enhance your brand and leverage it not just for your benefit, but for the benefit of the organizations that you represent. So how do you work on it? I want to make sure I give you some tips on ways to do that, and ways to think about communications and public relations to ensure that members of your executive team, or if you're an executive, ways that you can foster a positive reputation among your key stakeholders. First, think about your platform. It's a personal or professional platform. Every executive should have a platform. Maybe it's something to do with the industry that you are passionate about, or some aspect of your professional life or professional industry that you think you can affect. But it should underscore who you are as an individual, as well as align with your organizational values. Next is get involved. We talked about having a platform. Getting involved is the best way to embrace that platform. Make sure that you are engaged in the associations and organizations that represent your industry, whether it's your organizational industry or your professional industry. Yes, it's going to require some extracurricular work, but it will pay dividends when you need your reputation to pull you out of a jam, or you need to pull some equity out of that bank. Next is be a thought leader. And I know thought leader is overdone and it's cliche, but conceptually, this is important. Think about how you, as an executive, can contribute to the industry. Maybe it's an op-ed, or contributed articles, or profiles, or other ways to convey your expertise and support your platform as an executive, as a professional. Maybe it's finding the right social media channel, which we'll get into in a second, or utilizing an organizational blog, or investing in some sort of other owned media channel where you can control the storytelling. Next is get social, get on social media. This one can be tough. I get it. Social media used to be important for engaging with customers, and now it's a place for key audiences to learn more about the brands. And yes, the individuals and the executives they support and they give their money to. So executives have a chance to tap into that in a very positive way. But of course, tread lightly, and please make sure that you have a plan before you jump on social media, because this can spiral quickly. Finally, get to know your teams, and I mean all of your teams. First, make sure you're connecting with the teams you lead so they understand your platform and your leadership style, but also find ways to connect with teams outside of your department or the teams that you're directly affiliated with. And with this, I'm talking about internal stakeholders. Internal stakeholders or employees are the best source of advocates that you as a stakeholder, as a executive, or your organization will ever have access to. So make sure that you're connecting with them in the right way. And there's your strategic thought for the day. Thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure you head over to tcstrategic.com for other strategic thoughts, and we'll see you back here again soon.